Hello and welcome to Identity Office Hours. I'm your host, Mike Schwartz, founder of Glue. Today is episode 172. We're here in Rabat, Morocco, live at MOSIP Connect, one of our next attempts at a live in-person live stream. Today, the topic is citizen login with Inji Wallet. Our guests are Sanchi and Vishwa from MOSIP. Welcome, guys.
Hi, everyone. It's great to be here. Happy to talk about a lot of things today.
Hi, everyone. It's very nice to be here. Thanks for inviting us.
So it's our tradition to ask the guests to tell a little bit about themselves. Sanchi, how did you get here?
Okay, so I'll just give a basic background. I come from an engineering background and I was working into multiple different products before I joined MOSIP. So I have worked on like blockchain, decentralized applications and educational products. And I think through my previous product, I got to know something called MOSIP, and then it gave me a very great trust in terms of like what MOSIP is doing with their identity, the kind of platform they're building, and the kind of work as a nonprofit organization that MOSIP does for so many different countries. So that kind of gauged my interest, and somehow I landed up here. That was like one of the greatest days, which I feel it gave me an opportunity to be here and like just work for a project that's kind to help a lot of people.
Hi, I started my career in a cybersecurity company. It was like 14, 15 years ago. I was there for 9 years. I joined as a developer and I came out as an architect. The past 5 years, I've been with MOSIP. I started as an architect and currently my role is principal architect here. Basically, we have 3 different solutioning in MOSIP. We have MOSIP Identity Platform, we have Inji and eSignet. Basically, I lead the architects group who takes care of all 3 solutions.
So I'm going to go off script a little bit and start with a basic question. Sanchi, why are verifiable credentials an important technology for MOSIP to take on?
My viewpoint on why verifiable credentials is an important aspect that why MOSIP has picked it up. Because as we know that MOSIP works on a modular open source identity platform. Now the next idea was like, if we are able to provide identity platform which can help citizens receive ID, a foundational ID, then what next? The next idea that came in that if as a citizen we have a foundational identity, that how they can use that identity. As a user, if I have a foundational identity and I reach to a verifier or a relying party in terms of like it can be a simple service like I just want to get a bank loan and I have to give a lot of documents to my bank to prove myself, to prove my identity that I'm eligible to get a loan. That proving of my identity, the verification of my data that needs to happen, that brought in an idea that why not verifiable credentials, because it makes the work a lot easier for the holder who is holding the data and even for the verifier who is going to verify the data. So the manual process that was eventually involved till now in a lot of physical places or in physical world where you have to share the documents, you go to a bank and then you share it with them, they'll come back to you after 1 week or 2 weeks, they'll process your documents, they'll try to see whether the data you have shared, whether it's valid in nature or not. And until and unless they don't validate the authenticity of the document that you have shared, they cannot trust you. They don't take you on the face value. They take you on the documents that you have shared. Now, during that whole process, it's like time taking, a lot of manual effort goes, a lot of costing goes in. And as a user, I really need to patiently wait. So if I'm a normal user, it's okay, I can still wait. But what about the user who are in urgency of the loan, like farmers, like a lot of different people who are in urgency of a loan and they are not able to get it because of the long process. So verifiable credentials try to solve problem even for the holders who are having the document and even for the verifiers who would like to trust the data that is coming in. So verifiable credentials bridges that kind of a gap and it kind of helps solving those challenges.
As a cybersecurity engineer, there's lots of technologies out there that potentially could have addressed this challenge. Why do you think verifiable credentials that are evolving today, let's say credentials presented from some type of wallet, why do you think this is a good fit for the particular use cases that MOSIP was facing?
So let's go a little back. It used to be a paper-based system. As Sanchi pointed out, it was very clumsy and it is very time-taking, prone to frauds, etc. And then there is a mechanism to do it online. You authenticate and do online, which is also very nice, but it opens 2 main problems. Even though the data is going to be sent from the rightful source. Some issuer claiming some aspects about the user is going to give that information to a verifier or a relying party. But still, there are two main problems. Internet has to be available. A lot of countries where we are working with, not everywhere internet is available. So service delivery is getting impacted. The second one is privacy. For every information that needs to be transferred, there is going to be a central system where they are going to know that this user is speaking to this one. So there is a privacy aspect to it also. It's not only on the organization, but even if the data gets leaked, what happens? So this kind of problems are there. So this made us to move towards a solution where we can solve both these problems, and we found this decentralized way of verifying, which is what verifiable credential is also trying to solve. Even before verifiable credentials, we were trying to solve this on our own, but over a period of time we saw this, it's a standard. Verifiable credential is widely getting recognized, so then we thought it's a very good opportunity. So it's standard based, so it is interoperable, and we thought it will also serve our purposes very well, where countries can actually get access to services, but at the same time in a very privacy preserving way.
So Sanchi, you're project manager of Inji. So what exactly is Inji Web?
So Inji Web is like a web-based wallet. Everyone would have seen mobile applications. People would have seen that how mobile applications operate, and then you hold some kind of a data in that. Now, the idea to bring in the web-based wallet was that the data is not in a centralized place. When I say centralized, it is more of the idea that web wallet can be served as a cloud wallet, so that the data that goes in there can be accessed at any time from any place. You don't need to hold a physical device. And the idea came in because the kind of countries that we have been dealing with, and we have seen a lot of internet problems, a lot of people not having mobile phones, and the mobile phone penetration percentage is less. So what happened to those kind of people? We cannot leave those people, because they also need to get services from the government. They are the people, they need to get the credentials so that it can make their life also easier. So the idea was to cater to a larger set of audience. Mobile wallets were not enough. So that's where the idea originated. Let's start working on a cloud wallet. Now, this cloud wallet will help you to store your data, to store your credentials in the similar manner, and can be accessed from anywhere. It can be like a kiosk setup that like people and agents are helping the set of users trying to get their verifiable credentials, and the same credentials can be downloaded and can be printed in form of a paper credential, so that they can keep it and they can take it back home. And even if, let's say, if I lose my device, my physical mobile phone device, or maybe if I'm in a natural disaster that happened, that I lost my device. So that these are like the human possibilities that can happen. So to cater to these kind of human possibilities, the thought process was like, let's have a cloud wallet where your data can be stored. At the end, the basic point or the basic bottom line is to reach to the larger set of audience, whether they have a device or not. They should have the accessibility to get verifiable credentials and get those services from the government that they actually need in a much faster way.
I would like to add a small point to that. It is for the inclusivity story, but eventually, a few years down the line, when they are getting a smartphone, we can synchronize the credentials in the wallet. So they get the decentralization aspect very soon when they have it, but this will allow them to be in the ecosystem, and it allows the verifiers to receive credentials, whether it is from smartphone or cloud. Still, they get to receive the same credentials and provide the service.
I just want to offer an observation. It seems almost opposite. In the crypto world, the cloud wallet seems more prevalent than the actual physical wallet. But in the ID world, the idea that we're going to present our ID from like Apple Wallet or Google Wallet or some other type of wallet seems more mainstreamed at the time. My observation is that I think both are useful. One other observation I'd have from the relying party perspective is that it's quicker to do development on the web. So in a way, it's quicker to iterate the features. Sanchi, do you have any thoughts about the trade-offs? What were some of the benefits of the web wallet? And maybe what are some of the trade-offs of the web wallet also?
Yeah. I think the trade-offs, or you can say the benefits of web wallet, I'm just thinking from a perspective that, let's say if I come from a country where I am a person who is literate enough to understand technology, to operate devices, to know what is internet, how it works. So for me, it's very easy for me to operate any kind of device, any kind of technology, or like through internet services. But I'm just thinking about the set of people that are not having access to these services, or they have access to the services but they don't know like how to use these services. I'm just thinking about like people like our grandparents, right? They still have the technology, maybe they are able to use it in certain capacity, but they are not aware exactly how it operates or how things at the end work. So for people like those, if we have something where a web wallet service kind of a thing can come in, where they don't have to actually just operate everything on their own, it reaches like maybe millions or billions of people at that kind of a scale. So that's how the scalability will come in, because wallets come and go. There will be so many different wallets present in the market. They can come in for 5 years, 10 years, they stay and then they go off. But the scalability perspective brings in that how slowly it scales up and caters to millions of users. And I think another benefit which I feel that we are trying to build in the web wallet perspective is that it should be a cloud wallet where the data can be synced if you already have a mobile device, and if you lose the device, if your data is lost, you're in some another like situation where you're not able to access the data, cloud wallet will hold your data and you will be able to access the data from any place, anywhere around the world, even if you're not holding your device with you, even if you're not having your laptop or you're not having anything. So it's very accessible in nature, which makes a lot of people's life easier for a cross-border kind of a use cases. It can be more like a central locker kind of a model where multiple documents can be stored in one place coming from different issuers. If it is already hosted by, let's say, one organization, entity, or a country, so it becomes like your cloud locker where you have like so many different documents stored and you don't have to even like have a mobile device in that place. You don't have to need a physical paper. You don't need a physical wallet, which is like a printed cards. So there's so many different things, I think, which Inji Web Wallet tries to cater to. And maybe I think I'll let my colleague Vishwa also add something on top of that.
Yeah, I agree. I'm a fan of the web wallet for the reasons that you mentioned, Sanchi, but it does come with some trade-offs from a security perspective, especially around the storage of the keys and the trust model. So Vishwa, what are your thoughts about some of the trade-offs and risks that countries will need to think about if they're implementing this type of solution?
Okay, so I think there's this between the availability of the service versus the security. It's always a trade-off between, and I think this is about finding the right balance between the both. So the trust models here is going to be the keys for individual people. When a presentation happens to a verifier, these keys are used for signing the presentation and then sending this signed block to the verifier. So the key management is the same component that is used in MOSIP for the security of the national identity issuance. This is the same library is what is used in Inji Web for the key management aspects. So end of this, you can actually back this entire trust with a hardware security module. You can have an HSM, which can actually help you with managing these keys and anchoring the trust of these keys. But if you're doing it for very less assurance use cases, you can use it without that also. So as a country, when they are implementing it, they have an option. If they are using for national identity kind of projects, they can actually use an HSM, which is basically anchoring the trust there. But there are keys for every user is getting created, and it is backed up by the key master key, which is available in the HSM. So this way, to an extent, the key and security aspect of this is taken care. But as I said, this is to make sure that you are having a choice, right? It's not like people without smartphones are out of this ecosystem, out of this benefit delivery that we can do it with VCs. So they can get onboarded there, but eventually if they have a smartphone, they can synchronize it and use smartphone for a lot of these things.
So that's actually a good segue. Inji Web is just one of the distributions of the Inji Wallet. There is also the mobile option. And actually, what I learned in this session today was that there's a number of other library components that comprise Inji. So maybe Sanchi, you could just give a quick tour of what are some of the different parts of the Inji libraries.
Yeah. So Inji Mobile Wallet comes with multiple libraries and SDKs. We want to keep each feature or accessibility tool easier for anyone to integrate with their existing applications that they're holding. So they can convert their existing applications into a verifiable credentials wallet. They don't need to take all the components. That makes their life a lot easier so that no one has to build things from scratch. So just to give you an idea, like we have VCI client, we have secure key store, we have Pixel Pass library. There are so many more available in our open source documentation as well. So VCI client helps verifiable credentials issuance, where the download and the storage happens, where it can interact with any credential issuer. And then you will be able to download the credentials in your mobile wallet. Then we have Pixel Pass, because we have bring in a mechanism where your credentials can be stored within a QR code, so that you can just present it to the verifier, or when you take out a printout, that QR code should be verifiable in nature. So Pixel Pass role is to decrypt or encrypt the data. Then we have secure key store, where it's mostly for managing the kind of keys that comes in with the signature that particular credential holds. Then we have VC verifier for verifying the credentials during download, and the VC verifier is also consumed by our Inji Verify service to verify the verifiable credentials and the data. Then we have Tuwali. So Tuwali is actually one of the libraries that serves a very interesting feature, which is sharing your data in an offline mode. So a verifier and a resident, which is the holder of the data, both can be present without any internet. Still, I will be able to share my data with my verifier totally in an offline mode with zero internet connection, just using Bluetooth Low Energy. And then we have OpenID VP library. So that kind of serves the presentation purpose, that we have something that as a verifier can request the data that they need or the credential that they need to give me the services. So VP library, the OpenID verifiable presentation library, helps the wallet to present the data to the verifier in the certain format that it is requesting.
We're getting pressed for time here. So Vishwa, why don't we start with you? Last thoughts on Inji Wallet or Inji Web, or next things people should think about?
Verifiable credentials, Inji story is evolving. Standards around the space are also evolving. So a lot of exciting work is going on. So the last words would be, if you are a developer or if you are interested in working on very cutting edge projects, and if you want to actually make a difference also, please visit community.mosip.io, where we discuss a lot of requirements, a lot of problems, a lot of solutioning, a lot of things happens there. Please visit there and join our community. And you can also visit github.io/Inji to look at our code bases, and you are welcome to contribute.
Okay, last thoughts?
Yeah. So I think the one point that I have kind of repeated twice in my conversation till now, that Inji as a stack, or Inji Web Wallet or Inji Mobile Wallet, caters to larger set of audience. And that's the idea, that we want to build in a lot more features or use cases that it can bring in. And the idea and the roadmap this year is that we bring in more use cases so that it can go into different sectors, whether it's financial sector, healthcare sector, education sector, identity sector, or any kind of things that you could imagine of. So I think I would just like to say that we are trying to reach to a larger set of audience, whether it's any country across the world, wherever verifiable credentials are needed, and it can actually serve purpose so that it can bring in the social impact. Our project is open source in nature. It is flexible for anyone to adopt. Please reach out to us. Please talk to us. Share your ideas, share your solutions, and we are here to help you. We can work together and we can build something great out of it. Thanks, everyone.
Live is always a little harder, so I want to thank you guys for your patience today. And also thank you for all the hard work putting together this great conference. And with that, I will say thank you, Sanchi, thank you, Vishwa, thank you, audience, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, Mike, for